Hi guys, and welcome to Delicious Bake Club. I'm Andy Bowdy. We'll be making my sweet potato marshmallow pie. To start off, we're going to make our pie crust. We're going to get some water, some apple cider vinegar, combine the two. We've got sugar, a pinch of salt, stir it all together. We're going to pop it in the fridge and keep it chilled. So for the pastry now, we're going to take just plain flour, and then we've got some chilled butter cut into 1 centimeter roughly cubes. And then with your hands, you just want to kind of work the butter gently through the flour. I recommend that you pour it out onto the bench. I like to make a little well in the middle, and we're just going to gradually add this and just fold it in on itself. When it gets to this kind of consistency, I like to just flatten it out with my hands, and then you can kind of just keep folding it over and just pushing down. But at this point, it's okay to add just a little bit of flour to it. We need to refrigerate this now before we roll it out. So next we're going to move on to one of our garnishes, the brown sugar pecans. First we're going to put in pecans, brown sugar, and some unsalted butter. And what you want to do is not walk away from this. And what we're looking for is for them to be harmonious and cover the pecans. So now we've got our nuts caramelized. We're going to spray a baking tray to pour them out onto. So basically, we're just draining a bit of the caramel off. You're pouring them out and just using the oil on the tray to kind of separate them. We're going to set them aside and allow them to cool until we need to decorate the pie itself. So next up, we're going to make the sweet potato filling. First, we're going to take our butter and pop it in the pan, and we're going to brown that. Now that we've got our butter browned, we're going to add our brown sugar and then caramelize that. So now we've got a nice brown butter caramel here. We're going to add our cream. So for the next part of our sweet potato custard, we're going to do a little bit of blending. Basically, we've taken a sweet potato, cut it up into nice small bits, popped it in the oven at 170 degrees and just cooked it until it's nice and soft. So we're going to pop that in first. To that, we're also going to add our brown butter caramel. And then we're going to blitz. So our puree is looking nice and smooth now, so we'll start to add our spices. We've got cloves, cinnamon, allspice, and nutmeg. Blitz all together. So next we're going to add our eggs, and we're going to add our milk to the mixture. We want to add our eggs gradually just so they mix through nicely. And next we're going to add the milk. Now our sweet potato custard is nice and smooth. We scrape down the sides. So the next step, we need to roll out our pastry. We just want to flour the bench a little bit, just a little bit on top of the pastry itself. Of course, the faster you do this, the better it is. So we've got pie tin. We've greased it earlier. We're going to roll the pastry up with our rolling pin. Bring the pie tin in front of it. We just want to drop it over. Just gently push it down into the corners, we'll call them. So next we're going to trim our pastry. You want to leave around 2 centimeters around the outside of your actual top of your pie tin. Jazz it up a little bit. I'm going to crimp the edges. We're just going to line it with a piece of baking paper. And we've got some baking weights. Now we're going to pop our pie in the oven at 200 degrees for 30 minutes. Okay, we've got our pie crust. It's been blind baking for 30 minutes in the oven. We're going to remove the baking weights and pop it back in for a further 10 just to finish it off. So we've got our pie crust fresh out of the oven, and we're going to add our sweet potato custard. And now we're going to bake it in the oven at 160 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. Okay, so we're going to make a nice little garnish for our pie. Sweet potato chips, lovely on your pie, also a lovely snack. So we've got a shallow pan of oil here. We've heated to a medium heat, and we're just going to take small handfuls at a time of our shaved sweet potato. Our sweet potato chips are getting nice and crispy, so we'll take them out and just pop them on some absorbent towel, and we'll pop these aside for when we're decorating the pie. The last step is the marshmallow meringue. We're going to pop the egg whites in the bowl first and whisk them until they start to come up. They're translucent at the moment. You want to bring them up until they start getting cloudy. You don't want them to kind of start forming peaks before you add the sugar. So our meringue's done now. So we've got our sweet potato pie. It's been baked, and then we've chilled it down in the fridge for 2 to 3 hours, and it's ready for our meringue topping. Now for the fun part, we get to use a blowtorch. So crank it up, and don't be scared to give it some. Now that we've blowtorched it, we're just going to finish it off with some of our brown sugar pecans and our fried sweet potato. So here you go, here's my sweet potato pie. Now I challenge you to a bake-off. For more details, head to the website. You'll find the recipe there, and make sure you post it and tag us so we can see what you've been up to.